Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from, and welcome to another edition of Legal Knowledge. So today I'm going to be presenting on criminal law, and under criminal law I'm going to be talking about criminal liability and civil liability. If you witnessed my past video, I did a video on what is criminal law and discuss the purposes and how criminal law came into being. So today we are going to be talking about criminal liability and civil liability. First of all, in every society, the law governs human behavior. The way you do things, and when you do things, it shows whether you are responsible, whether criminally or civilly. Or if a person breaks a law, they are legally responsible, which is called liability. So now what is liability? Liability arises when you are involved in a wrongful act. Like for example, you murder somebody, you can be responsible, which in other words is liable for that crime. We have types of liability. We have criminal liability and civil liability. So firstly, we'll start with the civil liability. What is civil liability? Civil liability arises when a person commits a wrongdoing or a wrong act towards a society or the state. So now most often you see that when a person kills someone, you go to the court and then you hear the case, or let's just say Mark versus the Republic of so and so, the Republic or the country name that the crime was being committed. So that is the reason why the country prosecutes the person instead of the victim parents, or you know or the victim himself, or carrying the case. Even though you carry the case to the court, but it is the country responsibility to prosecute that person. Reason being, they want to deter or to stop crime from happening. That's why in my last video, if you witnessed my last video, I said that the law warns, the law stops, and while stopping, they punish. Like if you murder, you go to jail for so and so time, so that it can serve as warning to others not to kill. So that's the main reason why when you commit a murder, they say that it's against the entire, you are born against the entire society, right? So that's just one example of criminal liability. Crimes that fall under criminal liability will be murder, rape. If you rape someone, and when you rape someone is a crime, you are criminally liable for that crime, and you can be taken to court, right? So someone will ask, they'll be like, okay, let's just say John killed Mary, right? And then Mary parents said that, okay, we forgive Mary. Maybe the way the incident occurred, we forgive John for what he did to our child, and we don't want to carry that case to court. You are not still free. Because why? You have committed that crime against the entire society. So the government now will take, so long as the government know about that case, they are going to take matter into their own hands. They are going to arrest John, even if the parents of Mary, of the victim, says that we forgive John for what he did to our daughter. So they are not doing it because they don't want, if they start forgiving people, or the parents be like, Mary parents be like, okay, I forgive John. Other people will be like, okay, John killed Mary, and the parents forgive. So if I do the same, even if the victim parent forgive, I will not be punished. So that's one main reason why when you kill someone, they say that you have committed against the society, so that you can be punished, so that you can serve as warning to others. So next, we are going to talk about civil liability. Now, what is civil liability? Civil liability arises when a person does a wrong act to another person, like individually or an organization. So under civil liability, we have two types of liability. We have tort liability and contractual liability. What is tort liability? Tort liability is when you cause harm to someone by breaking the law by breaking the duty that the law says you owe to a person. For example, so we have traffic rules. We have traffic rules. And normally in our traffic rules, when you reach a red light, you stop. Let me give a common example. Example where John is driving his car and he reached at a red or traffic light stop for him to stop his car, and then while driving, he's on his phone, right? And then he hits Mary's car from another lane, whatever. He hit Mary's car and she got injured and her car got damaged in the process. That's tort liability. Now you can take him to court, but it will be a civil litigation. It's a safer case. So now he's not going to jail because it's safer. On a civil liability, you can be fined, you can compensate for the losses, right? So in that case, what will happen? He will be fined for negligence because why? He was driving and he was not paying attention while driving. So in that case, he will compensate Mary and take care of her injured or whatever, and fix the damage that occurred on the car while he was driving. So that's just one clear example of liability on civil litigation. So next we'll talk about contractual liability. Contractual liability is wherein you fail to adhere to a contract that was signed between you and a person. So in this case, we will use uh, employment contract, right? It's part of civil litigation, also contractual liability. Let's use our employment contract as an example. John works for a company, and within the contract, the employment contract, he signed a 2 years contract with that company. After being paid for 2 months, the company decides to terminate John's contract. So legally, illegally, right? So John now has the right, every right, so long as illegally, he has every right to take the company to court. So if the guy takes that company to court and then win the case at the end, it depends, right? He could be reinstated or he could be compensated for his loss. So there is something I want us to understand, right, when it comes to criminal and civil liability. Before we go to the next topic, I want us to make something clear within criminal liability and civil liability, right? So I will give an example to make it understandable. So you steal a guy steals or John steals mirror phone, right? And then he was arrested for the phone criminally. That's criminal liability because he stole the phone and he was arrested. So why? Let's just say in the act of stealing the phone fell from him and it spoiled, and then Mary wants her phone back because even if you take John to the court, probably the court might fine him or the court might sentence him, right, for imprisonment. But one thing you should know, the fine that the court will be fining him criminally will not be given to Mary. It's not for her. It's for the court's own use. So if she wants to get compensation or if she wants to get her phone back after it's been damaged, she has to file a civil litigation wherein she will get compensation for her phone. If you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section below and I'll respond to you. Please follow our page for more legal content.